Alright, let's talk some more about Craigslist and kind of details on advertising on Craigslist, and there's a few things you need to know. First of all, on Craigslist, in general, you can sign up and register one phone number associated with one email address at a time, and with that account, for the services section on Craigslist, you're allowed to post one ad in each service category at a time, and you can update it or renew it every 2 days. Now, once your ads get old enough in Craigslist, you will not be able to renew them anymore, and you'll have to make a new one, but I think that's after like a few weeks to a month. So definitely you want to take advantage of Craigslist and have ads going up, all the time. So as far as the services section on Craigslist that you need to focus on that are really appropriate to junk removal, you can post ads in farm and garden because you're going to be removing branches and taking out decks, and also removing all kinds of backyard trash. You can put it in household services because you will go into people's houses and remove junk and just generally clean. Labor and move, that's really the most direct place you need to advertise on Craigslist. You can advertise in real estate, that's appropriate. You do help real estate agents and other property management type people, or just anybody moving in general, with cleaning out their property. And finally, you can go in small business ads and post some stuff there. Signing up for Craigslist is pretty easy. If you start to have multiple accounts because you want to post more ads, they do have ways of finding out, especially if you're doing it all from the same IP address. So it makes it a little harder to spam, but that certainly won't stop your competitors. So that's unfortunate. A lot of times your ads will get buried. So if you're posting ads on Craigslist and not getting too much business, that might be part of the cause. Is you post an ad and then 10 minutes later your competitors have kind of squashed your ad and it's not going to pop up. But always want to include a graphic with your ad. The sky's the limit as far as what you want to say to get people to call you, but don't worry about looking like you're some huge company. I've got a lot of jobs, especially when I was first starting out, by looking like the guy who was going it alone and doing it himself, and not some big company. And I've had people tell me point blank, "Yeah, I just called you because you look like you're a hard-working guy just trying to make it on his own." And I figured, I want this guy to come help me. But like I said before, just go on Craigslist and check out your competition in the area, and look what ads that they have that look good, and maybe kind of emulate those. I guess that one was deleted. I won't spend too much time on Craigslist. There's lots of people who will talk your ear off about Craigslist. Some other advertising ideas: human directionals. If you can get a sign made, you can go stand out on some busy intersections, have your phone with you, or maybe have your buddy answering it for you, and you might be able to get some business this way. I've done it before. I've gotten calls. I know that I've looked up ads, and some of the pros like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, who are very good at advertising. They will come out on the corner and do this sort of thing, and they get business from it. So I mean, if it gets them business, it can get you business. So don't knock it. It's pretty easy to stand out there, just get some headphones and a sign, and you're good to go. Although I'd recommend having a little stake when you're holding it, so you can set the stake on the ground, because believe me, it gets really old holding that sign up for a few hours on end, and your arms get tired and it gets exhausting. So put a stake in it. Don't flip it around to where people can't read it. I think that's the stupidest thing in the world. Maybe move it around every once in a while to get people's attention, but I think that whole flipping thing is kind of silly. Maybe it works, I don't know. Another big thing is totally worth it. You need to get vinyl lettering on your trailers. It's a little harder to do on a expanded metal trailer, but you know, make it happen. Maybe put some chloroplast signs on the side so you can put vinyl lettering. Because I guarantee you, you know, this vinyl lettering can pay for itself after one job. So it might cost this guy, say for instance this trailer, it might have cost him, you know, $150 to $200 to put that side up there. But like in the junk removal business, you might get a $400 job just from having your trailer parked somewhere or rolling down the road. And you know, the more jobs you get, the more calls you'll get, because you're going to be all over town and people will see you and notice you, and they might write down your number and then call you 2 months later. You know, it happens. But this vinyl lettering works. Which brings me to another point. You can park in busy parking lots. Like, definitely you can go to like Lowe's or Home Depot, park your trailer there, hang out for a while. If you got some other kind of busy place or some kind of fair that's in your town, you can go park your trailer. I've gotten business from that. It's not the most successful thing in the world, but you know what, if you're slow and you want to try it out, you can get some business from it. Let's see. Let's talk about Google AdWords for a minute. I don't think I've really spent too much time with that on this video, but it's definitely one of the big things I do. It is kind of expensive. The results are sometimes hard to track, but I've turned it off before and I severely regretted it. It will bring you business, and you want to make sure you do it right. For Google AdWords PPC, you know, pay-per-click advertising for junk removal and trash removal and garbage removal related keywords, for the good keywords, you're going to expect to pay about $3 per click, depending on the competition in your area. You know, it obviously depends on some things. And for the really important good keywords, you might pay up to like $5 for like furniture removal, for instance. That's a huge one. The furniture removal jobs are the best junk removal jobs because furniture's easy to move for how much volume it takes up, and if you're charging based on volume, you want that keyword. But yeah, the good words, typically you can expect to pay $3, at least in my area, per click, and any kind of decent one you'll pay maybe $1 per click. So I mean, I pay maybe $450 a month in Google AdWords, but you know, it brings me business. Even if all that money I spend on advertising only gets me one job that's a decent sized job, it pays for itself. You know, it's not unrealistic to have a $400 job or a $450 job. It's brought me $1,000 jobs before. So it's another way to put yourself out there. Here's a cool website I like to go to for search, you know, result kind of stuff. SEO book. Go use their search engine tool. I might do a whole video on just setting up your Google AdWords for junk removal and just fucking give you all the information. But you know, type in junk, see how many searches, you know, it gives you for certain keywords. You know, don't use junk yards or anything related to cars unless you're also removing junk cars. In fact, you want to put cars and automotive stuff as negative keywords on your Google AdWords, because you're going to get a lot of calls from people wanting to buy car parts because they think you're a junkyard, or ask you to buy their cars because they think you're, you know, a scrapyard, and that gets really annoying. So watch out when you set up your Google AdWords. Put the negative keyword deal for car stuff. But yeah, I mean, like for instance, junk is a keyword you want. Junk is a keyword you want. Junk removal is definitely a keyword you want. You can go through this list and kind of figure out probably what's appropriate. And also, a lot of people, when searching for junk removal, they use keywords involving trash. Just trash removal is a big keyword that you want to sign up for. Let's see, where's trash removal? Trash removal on here. Anyway. And then there's garbage removal. That's another one. You want to just use the keyword garbage and scroll through, and you'll see all the good keywords. I'll just make another video on it later. Here's another thing that you can do. I don't particularly like bandit signs. It is kind of trashy, but then again, this is a trashy business, so maybe it's appropriate. Your competitors will use it, so you should not feel too bad about using it. Like College Hunks Call Junk and Tomball uses these things, even though they're illegal to put up in some of the municipalities. They do it anyway. Apparently, they get away with it. I know people with tree removal businesses and other businesses, and even though these things look kind of trashy, they work. If you're worried about the law, there's ways to skirt around that. You can get like a burner number, have these things printed with the burner number on it, but you can't put your web name. And let's see, I think you can get these things, if you do it in volume, you can get them for like $1.50 a piece or something like that, and you just go around hot spots and stick them in the ground. A lot of people will put them in the ground and then leave them over the weekend and go pick them up, or just leave them there for a day and then go pick them up so they don't get trashed, because they do cost money. You don't want them all thrown away. And also it is kind of like littering. Let's see. Another thing you can do is put up these types of signs. You might have to, if you can find somebody that will let you put these types of kind of like home builder type signs on their property and get it at a good enough price, go for it. Funny thing I learned from my wife, who has her own sign business and has worked for real estate offices before. A lot of these signs, these home builder signs that they put up to advertise the home building, they don't actually have permission to put up on the properties they put it on. Especially if you look at the ones that they haven't mowed around or weeded it around the base recently. A lot of times those are ones that they didn't have permission, and so what they'll do is they'll put out this $200 sign, and if they get a call from some angry landowner, they'll go take it out. If they don't get a call, it just stays up there. So I'll be honest, I've thrown signs up on people's property before, and I did get not angry call, but somebody telling me to take it off, and then I just offered them money to leave it there, and they went for it. So that's another option. Another option is if you see these signs and they don't have backs on them, but traffic coming from the other way can still see that other side, go put your sign on the back of it. And if they give you an angry call, you can charge them to remove it. I'm just kidding, sort of. Or you can just go remove it and move it on to another free place to put your sign. Here's another advertising idea that I don't like. I've used door hangers before. It brought me like 1 or 2 jobs out of 1,000 door hangers. I don't recommend it. If you look at the actual numbers on statistics on door hangers and direct mailers, let's say you put out 1,000, you might get 1 or 2% calls, or 1 or 2% people interested, and then half of those will actually convert. So out of your 1,000, you might get 10 calls and 5 of them will convert. In my experience, is even less than that. Maybe I just did a bad design on my door hangers, but who knows? I don't recommend it. As far as more advertising ideas, it's pretty much free. You can go to storage units and hand out your business cards and talk to these storage unit people. It's almost kind of getting into a kind of networking thing, but networking is something you'll want to do. I've seen other pros do this, and I've done it myself. It's just, you gotta grow some balls and go out to talk to some people, and if you can get them to leave your business cards on their counter, you can get some calls from it. I've gotten calls from it. A lot of times these people will want you to take their stuff for free or make a deal on it, but you know what? Sometimes it's worth it. A lot of times storage unit junk can be worth money or be resellable. A big part of business in the junk removal business, at least for me, believe it or not, is actually reselling some of the stuff I get. You can make a lot of decent money off that. And finally, this has to do with networking also, sort of, is you want to talk to real estate agents, property management companies, and investment groups, and also some moving companies if you can make some good contacts. All these people come across junk removal jobs, and if you can get them to send it your way, that's great. If you're going to deal with a property management company or investment groups, a lot of times those people, they're in it to make money, so they're going to try to talk you down on price. It just depends on the people, whether it's worth it or not. A lot of times there will be people that will underbid you, and it starts to turn into like a almost day job if you're doing these big jobs, and you got talked down on price. So it depends on what you're into. On a side note, REO trash outs, when the bank owns a company, a bank owns a house and it's foreclosed on and people bought it, or they're just trying to clean up the property, they'll outsource it to management companies, and they'll hire contractors to come in and clean out all this stuff. That's something you could get into, and those are a lot of times big junk removal jobs, but that's a whole another subject. I'm not going to get into that in too much detail, but that requires some networking and signing up with some companies. There's national companies that do that sort of thing as well, and they require certain specifications on their contractors and liability insurance. But look up REO trash out stuff. That's big money. I don't do a whole lot of that. And yeah,